beautiful Phoenix. Welcome to Baseline Beating. I am Brandi Price and I am your host for Let's Talk Movies. And today we're going to be talking about the Batman. This is my little Batman. It's not a sticker, it's just like a random little thing. But isn't it cute? I love it. Let's read the synopsis directly off IMDb. When the Riddler, a sadistic serial killer, begins murdering key political figures in Gotham, Batman is forced to investigate the city's hidden corruption and question his family's involvement. As most of you guys know, I am an actor as well, so I love to talk about the cast first. So let's go ahead and talk about the cast. First, we have Robert Pattinson, who played the Batman, and we either love or hate him because of the Twilight franchise. There's a lot of really cute memes going around about, took him only 14 years to become a bat. He's a terrible vampire. And I kind of liked that one. But yeah, that's beside the point. I thought that I was not really going to love him as the Batman, but I didn't actually hate him at all. I honestly really liked his depiction of the Batman, and we'll get into some more details about why I loved his performance a little bit later when we talk about story and the setting of the film. Then we have Zoe Kravitz, and she played Catwoman, or Selina Kyle, which is her alter ego, kind of like Bruce Wayne, you know. If you know, you know. And I thought she was an excellent Catwoman. She really fit the description I envisioned Catwoman as. We have Jeffrey Wright, who played Lieutenant James Gordon, and he is always a solid actor. Like, I never have anything negative really to say about his performances. He's always solid. Honestly, Colin Farrell is one of my favorite actors. I love him in almost everything. And in this movie, he's unrecognizable. And I thought that he did an excellent job as the Penguin. He was so childish and also scary at the same time. It was a weird combination and I loved it. Yeah. Then you have Paul Dano as the Riddler. And Paul Dano adds such a dimension to things, and he has such interesting choices, and the tonality of his voice plays into it a lot, his body language. He's really a character actor, and I love that about him. So he was creepy, and that is exactly what this character needed. Also about his character, the Riddler, I loved how they did more of the comic book style. And Paul Dano's breakdown scene when he's talking to the Batman at the end is just amazing. His acting chops are superb. I thought he was just fantastic. John Turturro is also in it, and I love him. He plays Carmine Falcone, and he's another actor that I just always love. Andy Serkis, he's also in this. He plays Alfred, and it's great to see him not as some sort of like, he's not Gollum, and he's not an ape, and he's not anything like that. So it's great. He's not doing mostly voice acting. I love to see him in a substantial and beautiful role, and I love his part in it and how he played a younger Alfred. So it was really cool. Who else was in it? Peter Skarsgård was in it. He played one of the DA. He played the DA, and he was so obnoxious and also awesome. Gotta love that Skarsgård family. Okay, let's talk about story. Okay, so I was really excited that this one followed more of the comic book series as opposed to the more well-known Batman, kind of like a Dark Knight series did as well, but this one is based more upon the detective series, like in the beginning, and I was having a conversation with a good friend of mine about that in general, and he was super excited that it was that as well. So a lot of people have beef with this but I think it's because they don't know that this particular storyline is only 2 years into him being Batman. So there's a lot of room for error. He's still figuring out who Batman and who Bruce Wayne is and how they complement or whatever with one another. So I know a lot of people were conflicted about having Batman talk so much throughout the thing. And it was a little disconcerting to see Batman just discussing things with random people at certain times. But once you know that it is him trying to figure out the whole story, his whole storyline in his life and how it is going to be playing out, then you're more forgiving for that aspect. And in fact, it works better in that regard. So it was interesting to see that happen, and how he wasn't quite as comfortable and confident as Bruce Wayne as we've seen him in previous iterations of Batman. And I thought that worked really well in relation to what is going on in his life then. One of my favorite moments in the film was in the beginning when there are these bad guys and they're beating up someone, and you think that your thought is Batman is definitely going to show up here and he's going to kick a little ass, burgers. And he doesn't. He doesn't show up. And you're like, yes. So that scene in the very, very beginning of the movie sets the tone for the entire film. So I thought that was really great filmmaking. It was a great filmmaking decision. And I love that. And I love also, like, in some of the fight scenes and him driving and all of they're just mistakes that he makes. And it's just great because he would be making mistakes at this point in his journey as Batman. So yeah, story, that's kind of how Robert Pattinson and his portrayal of Batman really worked in this, and also the same thing for Andy Serkis as Alfred, because they're all newer versions and you get to see the cool beginnings of the relationship between the two of them, and how Bruce Wayne starts to rely on Alfred a little bit more and starts to trust him a little bit more in the process, and because he's just kind of eking, and you get to see a little bit of the backstory of Alfred as well, and that's really cool because a lot of people don't know that he was like Secret Service and he was doing all the fun stuff. And yeah, so that was cool. The other great thing about this one is it shows the beginnings of the relationship between him and Lieutenant Gordon. So that's also awesome. And you get to see how he supported him so wholeheartedly from the very, very beginning. He let him on crime scenes, and not everyone liked him. And still, even in previous iterations, they don't necessarily support the Batman because he is not someone that is fully transparent about who they are and all of that, and they don't like that. People don't like that. But on the other hand, people do like to know that someone is out there looking out for them and their well-being. Okay, let's talk cinematography. I know the big complaint that this movie was very, very dark. The blacks were pitch black and everything was varying shades of gray with little pops of light. And that was a story choice. It was a director's choice. It was cinematographer and how they collaborated. And I thought it fit with the story, but I honestly wish it would have been just a tad bit lighter personally, because I think we missed some of the details. Like if you have in the background, for example, you have something like the title of a book and it's just in passing, but if you look in there and you're like, oh, that's an Easter egg, and it's really amazing to see that, but I don't think that you would see any type of Easter eggs in this particular film, unfortunately, because it was so dark. But beyond it being dark like that, I think the cinematography itself was fantastic. I thought he did a really great job in capturing all of the elements. There were all these like car scenes and chases, and And all of the cinematography tells a story, which is what it's supposed to do. And if you watch Dune or if you watched Rogue One, you know that he's definitely adept at giving you a beautiful story to look at. And I think he captured it really, really well, albeit dark. I guess we should probably say his name. His name is Greg Fraser. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk direction. This was directed by Matt Reeves, who previously came on the scene with a big smash hit with Planet of the Apes, the remake, not the original, obviously. Matt Reeves also directed and wrote another movie called Let Me In. If you haven't seen it, it is one of the most interesting takes on a vampire story that I've ever seen in my life. I thought it was really, really cool. So watch that one too. So Matt Reeves directed this film, and I thought a lot of the choices were great. One of the things that I didn't like, and the director has final say on this, was I thought the Catwoman's mask was essentially useless. Like, you could still see her entire face. And she is a beautiful woman, but it kind of defeats the purpose of her cat burgling. The only thing you can see is just like this little baby section of her face. Like, you can see her mouth and you can see her eyes and you can see everything so easily identifiable. As far as direction goes, I think that the relationship between Batman and Catwoman, I think could have been pushed a little bit more than it was. Not insofar as there was more tension, and when they kissed, it made more sense to me. I understand finding someone who is doing something similar to you and wanting to embrace that, and also have someone, because people crave connection, and so I get that aspect of it, but I didn't think their relationship had as much tension and as I wanted it to have. That's kind of the only thing that I didn't really enjoy about the two of them together. I think they both had good chemistry on screen, but it just didn't feel like when she kissed him. Oh, I guess that should be a spoiler. I mean, it's basically happens in every Batman movie that has Catwoman in it. They do end up kissing. That's it. But when they did kiss, it didn't feel like it was, oh, it had to happen. It just felt like, what? Why did she just kissed him? Was it a power move? Maybe it was a power move. I have no idea. But all in all, I think the direction was great. All of the characters even the ancillary characters had good character arcs, and they didn't detract from the main story. And I thought everyone did a really great job. The editing was really seamless. I loved it. I can't find any fault in it really with that. The sound and the score were both really wonderful. I thought that it added a lot of great elements, and it made you feel like you were in the scene with them, and it wasn't too overwhelming or I didn't feel like it was super overpowering. I think that it just really, really added to the tone of the film. Let's talk makeup. The makeup team that did Colin Farrell's makeup, and obviously everybody else as well, they were incredible. I don't know how long he had to sit in the chair every day of filming, but it had to be somewhat substantial because they completely transformed him, and I thought that was just incredible. He was really, really wonderful. Well, I don't really think there's anything more to talk about. Is there anything that I missed that you guys want to hear? Just let me know in the comments. So make sure that you do that. Like it and subscribe and do all the fun stuff. You can check us out on Let's Talk Movies on Facebook. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok. It's at _Brandi Price, Brandi Price, just like how much is it? And don't be afraid to share it. Like if someone might want to watch me ramble on about the Batman. Also, I have a little random, I have a little, okay, I have to, he's a Batman. It's a Lego. I built this. So cute. I have one of Harley Quinn also. Sometimes I race them. Not super often, but sometimes I do. And it's fun. What are you looking at, Batman? All that craziness aside, thank you for listening to my rambling about the Batman. And I appreciate you being here and sticking around to the end to, you know, say goodbye like we're doing now. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, do all the things, and I'll talk to you soon. And don't forget, be kind, you beautiful beatniks. Bye-bye.